Hey guys, I just wanted to take a moment to record a video to follow up on my previous video that was kind of put together a little too fast. But this here is Matt Stoller when he was being featured on the Jimmy Dore show. And I did a video countering some of the things that he said. Not enough, obviously. But during the course of the conversation when I brought it up, I got all of this blowback basically from people who support him. I argued a lot on the Facebook group for Crystal Ball's Rising show. Anyway, so who is Matt Stoller? Well, he's this guy who's been finding his way onto a lot of shows that progressives watch, like Rising, Jimmy Dore, and he was on Democracy Now! Now, the video that I did recently actually kind of exposed what happened when he was on Democracy Now! And it didn't go so well for him. But one of the benefits of the argument that broke out on the Crystal Ball Facebook group was that somebody actually did a little bit of research on this Matt Stoller guy, and they found this. So this is Matt Stoller's profile on the website for an organization called New America. Now, as far as to whatever New America claims it's involved in, you could go to the website and I'll provide the link in this video. One of the reasons I'm doing this video now is that I wanted to make sure that this is, available to everybody, even if for some reason it mysteriously gets deleted. But when you go to the funding for the New America organization, it says, our funding at New America, a national network of innovative problem solvers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. How we're funded, their spiel is right here. And then the active funding transparency table. So there are 16 pages of this as far as to who funds them. And let's just take a look at some of the ones that pop out in my mind. You got the Ford Foundation, the Department of State, Siemens Foundation, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Rockefeller Foundation. Look at some of these numbers. Like, this is how much these people are dumping into this guy's organization. And there's actually multiple donations that are really high dollar, from all these really big groups. Oh, look, J.P. Morgan Chase. They're actually on here a couple times, along with the Department of State. You come back over here, and then, oh, look at that, Walmart. Obviously that makes sense, right? More forward to the Kellogg Foundation. There are some decent ones. I mean, like the universities or whatever, that's one thing. But then we got J.P. Morgan Chase again. Oh, so I mean, I didn't even get past the second page, and that was enough for me. So I guess you can be the judge, but somebody else pointed out that there was a donor on here, the Schmitz. I'm not exactly sure, what the deal is with that, but the person who found this actually was the one who brought that up. But basically, it's Hillary Clinton supporters. People who donate to Hillary Clinton also donated to this organization. So if you think that this guy is worth listening to, I guess that's up to you. But the people that fund his efforts are not exactly people I would say are on our side. And they're certainly not going to be inclined to do anything to help us. And that's actually part of the problem that I've been trying to articulate to people, is that this guy is basically going on left-leaning progressive shows, taking a big dump all over Bernie Sanders, blaming him for everything that just went on with our recent bailout bill. And the stuff that he suggests, when he suggests anything, was that somehow Bernie was supposed to, all by himself, stop the bill. Now, there are some things that he could have done to slow the process. The problem is that there's this little thing called Cloture. Now, this is on the United States Senate's website, but Cloture, the only procedure by which the Senate can vote to place a time limit on consideration of a bill or other matter and thereby overcome a filibuster. Under the Cloture rule, the Senate may limit consideration of a pending matter to 30 additional hours, but only by vote of 3/5 of the full Senate, normally 60 votes. So, in other words, the only thing that could have happened is if Bernie had blocked this bill, is that the mainstream media, and his opposition would have used it to demonize him, and then the bill would have passed anyway. When they voted for Cloture, they would have overcome any obstacles that Bernie could have put in their way. And that's the reason why the most Bernie could pull off was just trying to make sure and protect the provisions that were in the bill that actually help normal people. So the problem I'm having is that essentially there's a whole group of people now that just seem to be running around trolling all over Facebook about the stuff that this Stoller guy is saying, and I don't think everybody's really thought it through. He doesn't really have a whole lot of substance in what he would like Bernie to do instead, and he calls him a lot of names like lazy, things like, or he's a loser, and then he brought up, like in the Jimmy Dore show, he brought up, like, have you noticed, the things that he said that he led the fight for, the fight against NAFTA, the fight against the Iraq War, those are all losing fights. Like, okay, so was he not supposed to oppose the Iraq War? Was he not supposed to oppose NAFTA? It's like the guy literally just twists the narrative to try to make all the things that make Bernie Sanders a solid choice into somehow doing something wrong. So anyway, I wanted to just put this quick video together. I'm going to do more about this on my show. But, there was one other thing, and he said that Bernie didn't have anything to do with the bill as far as to what was in it that was beneficial for people. The problem is, here on Democracy Now!, and I'll actually post a link to this as well. Here you have, the Senate and the White House reach agreement, on the coronavirus bill. And then you have down here an unemployment provision added to the Senate bill by Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, I can talk today, would see laid-off workers receive 100% of their salary up to $75,000 a year, with tipped and gig economy workers covered. Economists at Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs estimate the U.S. gross domestic product could plummet by 30% next quarter, driving unemployment to nearly 13%. So let's say that again. An unemployment provision added to the Senate bill by Vermont Bernie Sanders would see laid-off workers receive 100% of their salary up to $75,000 a year, and the tipped and gig economy workers covered. So, Democracy Now! Reports that that Bernie was involved with writing this. Regardless, I'm not. Again, when you listen to the Jimmy Dore show about this and the other things that he said, he's just going around everywhere that he can. Meaning this idiot, saying that the whole thing is somehow Bernie's fault and that somehow Bernie should have stopped this, like all by himself, I guess. He did suggest something about organizing, the Democrats or something. The problem with that as well is that this is what's going on. The Democrats did organize, and then they put together a bill that deftly dodges actually helping the poor. What it did was it offered paid sick leave, but companies that had over 500 employees didn't have to pay it. So it literally did nothing for the poor. That's what organized Democrats pulled off. Then the Republicans put their bill together with the immediate, funds to be sent out, and people with no tax liability were only going to get $600. I'm one of those people with no tax liability, and $600 is barely more than one of my paychecks. So both the Senate and the Congress were just passing garbage back and forth between each other. And the suggestion, that's the other thing, is that all three, Tulsi Gabbard, AOC, and Bernie, did fight for different universal basic income proposals for the duration of this problem. The thing is that they don't go anywhere. It's not as simple as just waving a magic wand and making bills get to the floor. That's why Medicare for All hasn't been, voted on yet, because there's a whole process involved, and the people that are involved in that process are only interested in whatever it is that their corporate donors want. So unless you can figure out a way as a progressive, which we don't have a ton of leverage, to convince them that it's somehow in the best interests of their corporate donors to do something, very little can happen. That's the reason why Bernie usually just tries to pass good amendments to other people's bills, not because he's a coward or lazy, but because he can't just propose a bill all by himself and then make it happen. So this idiot right here keeps basically misinforming everybody, hoping that you are not informed enough to understand how the system actually works so that he can get you to turn against Bernie. And I watch it happen in real time while I was watching this video live. The comments, more and more of the people in Jimmy Dore's base are turning against Bernie Sanders, and it's because of guests like this guy and Radigan, who are just hoping that you don't know better. And a lot of people don't know better. And the only reason I know is because I work for Senator Mike Gravel, and he told me all about it. He was the frustrated senator that was trying to do things all by himself, and the only things he was able to get done was generally through cheating, like filibuster or things like it. But that can only happen if there's not enough support for the cloture, and there would have been support. Any bill that passes 96-0 is going to get the cloture vote if necessary. It's just that simple. Educate yourself, folks.